We are not horses. We are humans.
There's something we're not supposed to talk about, a secret that hides behind the Netflix phenomenon Squid Game. Everyone watched the show and thought, this could never happen in real life. But what if we told you it already has more than once? Maybe not with actual death at the end of every round, but close enough to make your blood run cold. This is the story of how Squid Game broke out of the screen and bled into reality. And by the end of it, you'll understand just how real it became. In late 2021, YouTuber MrBeast, one of the most influential creators on the internet, released a video titled $456,000 Squid Game in Real Life. He recreated every game from the show, including red light, green light, marbles, tug of war, and the glass bridge, using 456 real contestants competing for $456,000. Players wore the iconic green tracksuits, the sets were stunningly accurate, and when someone was eliminated, they collapsed dramatically with fake blood squibs, mimicking the deadly consequences of the show. There were no actual deaths, of course, but the spectacle felt eerily real. The video now has over 815 million views. But then Netflix itself decided to up the stakes. In November 2023, it launched Squid Game, The Challenge, a reality show involving 456 real participants competing for $4.56 million, the largest single prize in reality TV history. However, unlike the safe image projected in press materials, reports soon surfaced of harsh conditions during filming. During the first challenge, red light, green light, filmed in sub-zero temperatures in the UK, multiple contestants collapsed from the cold. 3 players needed medical attention, and 2 contestants filed legal claims against the production, citing injuries like nerve damage and hypothermia. Contestants described the filming environment as suffocating. There were real guards in pink suits, cameras watching their every move, limited access to food, and bunk-style dorms that mimicked the fictional barracks of the original show. One player claimed, "It was like being in a war zone, not a game show." If that wasn't enough, Squid Game fever began to spread around the world, spawning real-world events that blurred the line between fantasy and reality. In Singapore, a man named Selvam Arumugam, an Indian migrant worker, unknowingly entered a corporate Squid Game event and ended up winning it, after competing in Dalgona, marbles, and red light, green light. He walked away with 18,888 Singapore dollars, around 11.5 lakh rupees. In Abu Dhabi, the Korean Cultural Center held an official, non-lethal recreation of the games. Participants wore the green and pink uniforms, played the same challenges, minus the violence, and competed under strict rules that mimicked the show. There were no rewards, only the experience of stepping into the world of Squid Game. Even in places like the Netherlands, South Korea, and the UK, Squid Game-inspired pop-ups became global attractions. In Seoul's Itaewon district, a red light, green light statue was installed where people could play. A pop-up in Rotterdam allowed locals to compete in a glass bridge simulation. Though temporary and often canceled due to public safety or COVID-19 concerns, the intent was clear. People were hungry to step into the game. But here's the darkest truth. Squid Game, the show itself, wasn't entirely fiction. Director Hwang Dong-hyuk admitted the story was inspired by real-world injustices. One source was the brothers' home scandal in 1980 South Korea, a so-called welfare center where orphans, the disabled, and the homeless were abducted, shaved, dressed in uniforms, and subjected to horrific abuse, beatings, forced labor, and sexual assault. Over 500 people reportedly died there, and guards controlled the inmates much like the masked figures in the show. Another influence was the 2009 Ssangyong motor labor strike, where laid-off factory workers in South Korea were violently crushed by riot police, rubber bullets, tear gas, helicopters. The desperation and class struggle from those days seeped into every scene of Squid Game, reminding us that the line between entertainment and reality can be dangerously thin. So no, there isn't a real Squid Game with gunshots at every wrong move, but there's something arguably more disturbing: the willingness of society to embrace its structure. We've created versions of the game with real people, real injuries, and real emotional collapse.